This is a simplex Tyco panel we're going to be working on. Make sure you call out the system before you do any work so that no firemen are called. Okay, in order to put the system in bypass, you have individually marked from installation usually. If not, you're going to have to, go through the system with the installer and go through each individual circuit and find out what bypass button is bypassing each individual device. In this case, these are the speakers. We just bypass them, so now you'll have no sound like fire alarms, such going through the building. Strobes, which are the strobe lights, flashing lights, elevator recalls, fan and dampers, and this one here is the panel buzzer, which is the buzzing you just heard. Once they are in bypass, depending on the devices through your system, now you can work on any of the system's issues and you won't have any of these alarms go off, which means you won't be recalling elevators, no lights and sirens will be going off. Okay, when we get to that device, you can hit function and it'll give you the device address and its MAC address, which in this case is M2-126 or 16-126. The 126 is the important part. Now, F1 to force the card LED on. Okay, that's what we want to do. That way, when we go and find it, the light will be lit. But you got to remember to turn it on. Alright. Give you some other force on device LED. Yep, that's what we want to do. The LED is now turned on. So now when we go find it, that LED should be turned on. Since this is actually a duct detector, it won't be a little circle light one like a smoke detector you see in your house. It's going to be an actual duct detector, but you'll see what I mean. Okay, we have a duct detector here. It's the device we're looking for, M2-126. As you can tell, it's just a smoke head inside a box that senses smoke inside the ductwork. Now you'll notice that this base does not have any dip switches. The dip switches are over here on the circuit panel. Now they are addressed exactly the same way. We just got to do it there instead of on the base. Alright, to set the address on these devices is quite simple. You have numbers from off and on, and then you on one side is off, obviously the other side's on. And you have 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Now these numbers are obviously in an obvious sequence. So by turning these switches on and off, we'll actually map the address into this base. So we know our number is M2-126. So for the purposes of this, we know that 128 is going to be off because that number is too high. So we make sure that's off. Then we're going to turn on 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, and 2. That will give us now 100. If you add up 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, you'll come up with 126. Make sure the 1 is off. Okay. So now, all these numbers, you have 126. This is now addressed to M2-126. Now, if we install this device with a new head, boom, you put this in, it would take about maybe a minute for the panel to realize it, and the LED will start blinking if you did everything right and everything's good. But since our problem is actually with a duct detector, we're just going to replace the head, which means we didn't have to address the base. The base in the duct detector is actually on a little computer board, but the dip switches are exactly the same. So you set them exactly the same way on a duct detector as you do as a smoke or heat detector head. That's it. Nothing to it. Easy. Hope you gained something from this video. Alright, now that we installed our device, we're going to check to make sure it's working. So the first thing we're going to do is hit MAC, which is the M dot, 2, net button, which is the space, and then the address, which is 126. That's the binary address. Hit enter, Now we have that exact device that we were working on, the duct detector. It's reading normal. N2-126 works AHU7 supply. We know it's working normal, everything's good. Now we can clear it out. Take the system out of bypass. Let me scooch the camera over for you. And voila, system is normal. Now everything's working properly, everything's out of bypass. Since our fire alarm comes in, it'll do everything it's supposed to. The only thing it won't do right now is call the remote monitoring authority. So what I'll do is I'll go back in, call them back up, tell them our system's back online, and now everything should work properly.